Chapter 4 Unnecessary Interruptions. Suddenly, the door to the classroom bursts open, as if the one behind it is too impatient to wait for it to automatically slide open. A 3-meter ironclad yet slim juggernaut in a glorious white coat steps forth, his jet black mohawk flowing softly as he makes his way towards his equal, Pride. Everyone in the entire room jumps to attention, and just as he steps into the room, they all yell in unison, "Master on deck!" This is followed by utter silence. The new master ignores the class members and walks up to Pride, stopping before him and letting out a sigh.
Hey, as we got thee.
Pride cuts him off quickly.
Did you just bust down my door?
He glares at the other master.
No. Hey, the council sent over an escort.
He points a thumb behind him through the door. Pride groans.
What do they want this time? Supposedly they want to take you for an audience with them.
The master scoffs after hearing their demands out of his own mouth.
Well, I'm kind of busy at the moment, Kiva.
He gestures to the classroom of children who are all still standing stiffly at attention. Only taking a quick glance, Kiba shakes his head.
Want me to handle it?
He growls with a devilish smirk dancing across his cheek.
I know how you handle things, Kiba. I don't want bloodshed in the common grounds.
Kiba wraps his arms over his head and behind his back, stretching a slight bit.
Although I suppose you're trying to keep on good terms with the council. I'll send them off and leave you to it.
It has been a short exchange, but the two have their own tasks to attend to. They nod as Kiba starts to trot off. Before fully exiting through the doorway, he looks back to the classroom, eyeing the kids before his gaze narrows.
I hope all of you are ready this week. I got you shit stacks for 5 days. Tune your augments and prep your gear. If I catch one of you slacking, you're all going to find out why my name is Wrath.
Yes, Master Wrath! They roar with pure dread, knowing full well the onslaught that is to come. With that, Kiba nods and exits the room. The children collectively let out a breath of relief while slowly making their way back down to their seats. Pride clasps his forehead and lightly rubs it.
Well, now that I can continue.
Kiba turns back through the door for a moment, forcing the students to clamber hectically to their feet. Without a look, he waves his hand at them. Children begin to groan in pain as they are forcibly pushed back down into their seats, several doubling over onto their desks under the pressure of this unseeable force.
I almost forgot. Would you mind sending me their characteristic reports?
Kiba lets out a smile at Pride.
I wanted to try tuning specific training regimens based on their personalities.
Pride nods in response and smiles back.
I'll send them right after I'm done here.
With a quick nod back, Kiba continues his way back out, heading straight for the council envoys. It does not take long for him to reach the common grounds. The pathways through the complex were built for efficiency. Lengthy corridors are emblazoned with intricate art carved directly into the blackened metal. Only mechanical doors separating each piece. Time has forgotten the identity of the artists, but not their work. Each route reaches the same destination, end to end. On his journey, Kiba passes by several Spectre elites, each one following in formation behind him. His helmet begins to amass, forming from his neck where the chestplate ends and wrapping almost completely around his head. Only his recognizable hawk and ears stick out. He stomps on to the envoys, his weight unfathomably apparent with each step, now unhindered. The metallic titan shadows over his unsavory guests.
Master Pride is unable to accompany you today.
The helmet kicks in and warps his voice, tripling it while simultaneously raising and lowering the separate tunes.
I'd suggest holding an audience over holocom next time. That way you don't waste your time coming here.
A 2-meter-high, purple-skinned creature stands in the center of the common grounds, his body wrapped with a dark chitinous material embedded with foreign metallic plating throughout. A stub-nosed grizzly veneer hides a jagged esophagus trap. His voice groans and hisses.
You think this is some kind of game? We've been amicable long enough.
Kiba stops in his tracks before getting too close.
I don't quite understand what you think you can achieve here. He is unavailable to accompany you back for an audience.
He folds his arms and tilts his cheek.
You have no sovereignty here. You really expect him to just stop what he's doing to accommodate your every need? You're not even considered guests here.
This isn't a debate, Wrath.
Retorts the envoy's captain, seemingly mocking the name.
We were sent here to collect him for trial.
He slowly grips his rifle more firmly.
You're lucky we don't take you too.
Kiba chortles with delight.
And just how do you suppose that would happen? I doubt you could even lift my leg off the ground.
He raises it knee-high, mocking his adversary.
Anti-gravity, obviously. Your weight has no effect on superior technology.
The captain waves to his men, sending off undecipherable signals.
We can take him by force if necessary.
Kiba catches every movement of each trooper while he is still focused on the captain in front of him.
Come now. I do not know what your deities preach to you, but this is absurd. They can't be this naive.
Kiba looks around to his men, looking for an answer. Just as clueless, they all simply shake their heads. A savage bark emanates from the envoy.
You would dare speak of our god?
With a tap of his rifle, the others in the envoy now stand focused, weapons pointed down yet at the ready. Kiba slowly blinks several times beneath his helmet, tilting his head slightly.
Are you mad, lad?
He steps a little closer, blanketing the captain in darkness.
You're martyrs, aren't you?
The captain hardly raises his head to match Kiba's gaze, uncaring of his stature.
And I suppose you Terranian specters believe you're the top strain in the universe? Orphe, out of the macrocosm, reigns above all. Even you know this.
The captain spits a glob of a thick fluid that lands at Kiba's feet.
This is just one planet. You'd be wise not to commit blasphemy towards the Council. They are the direct tongue of the Creator.
Kiba places his hand across his chest, acting surprised.
Is that so? And what would the progenitors do?
Inching ever so closer to the captain's face, he adds.
Invade Terra in all its might head on?
He scoffs, playing with the claws on his gauntlet, pretending to pick out dirt.
What a foolhardy notion. Every single skirmish between our forces led to your undeniable defeat.
Kiba flicks his fingers and directs his eyes back to the captain.
You might as well bend to your lords and let them cleave your head off upon your return. Save us the trouble.
With a thunderous stomp, the captain shakes his gnarled fist.
How imprudent must you be with your words, Cretin? You have no idea what the Arturi had in store for renegades such as yourself.
As he regains his composure, he snarls heavily.
Regardless, the Creator alone can take away that which He originally designed. Your impudence with this world is an insult to all of creation.
Of course. Kiba could not help but burst out in a hearty laugh.
Orpheus created nothing but lies that you adhere to, blindly following them to your own extinction. We created our own, and you should heed the warning of one who has seen the end of several races.
The captain squints his eyes with rage.
The Council will see to it that this abomination of a rock completes its star cycle.
He looks down and shakes his head.
I'll enjoy the day I get to watch the sun burn bright again, only to fade into oblivion as it was intended.
A low growl issues from Kiba.
Watch your words, Captain. Any threats against Terra and its people will be placed upon you.
Kiba changes his stance, slightly pivoting his right leg back, his hand hidden behind his hip.
Turn around and get on the ship. Your access is now expunged.
Kiba raises his left and points off to the airlock.
We care not for the Council and their rhetoric. They leave us alone, we'll leave them alone. That is our deal.
As Kiba lowers his hand, the captain chuckles softly.
You fabricated such an agreement. The Creator never decreed it.
The captain finally looks up to Kiba, a snarl scratching across his face.
Every species is subject to the Council.
A low hum emanates from the captain's rifle as his troops begin to step around, posturing themselves as if seeking early cover.
Bend to his will as all of us have. Surrender pride, or we will take him.
Within a moment, an ominous red light seeps out of Wrath's eyes, smoking in appearance. The ground trembles as a short wave is forced out from his body. His nightmare sclera, together with a red reticle-like pupil and blue swirling data for an iris, now visible through the lens of his visor, mechanically turn in place.
Their will is but a transient grasp for control. Affront Terra, and I shall hand you a new breed of terror.
I'll be glad to drag Pride's body through these cancerous grounds you call a home. After we're done dealing with you, Wrath.
The captain's chin faintly starts glowing with shadow. Curious, the captain peers down to see a ripping mass of void energy growing between Wrath's claws.
Tell me, which paradise has the god shall you travel to when you die? I shall invoke it for you with your defilement.
The classroom air weighs heavily upon the students as they grumble among each other, their focus drawn to the following days of hell. Pride takes but a moment to recollect himself and allow the children to as well. He ponders quietly, wondering where he should continue after the distraction. With a singular obnoxious clap, he gathers the children's attention.
With that out of the way, I believe we can continue.
Pride plants a hand firmly down on the desk, leaning slightly towards the children.
After my arms were replaced, I was given a short week of recovery time. Although having an arm transplant should take months to recover, we did not have time to spare.
Without warning, the metallic floor begins to quake in place. The entire compound warps and bends around them, visually twisting reality itself before vibrating to a halt. A shallow hum emanates across the walls with a following click as the metal sets in place. Immediately, Pride slams his fist into the desk, reclaiming the attention of the children. He grumbles deeply before turning towards the door. Every child flinches with the deep clash of his steps. They dare not say anything now. Being the impatient one, Pride slams open the door, rendering it broken completely. The children squint their eyes and look away, waiting until he is gone to see once again. There is no commotion in the illustrious halls as far as he can see, besides the initial hum he had heard from the classroom. Pride moves with intent, and when he reaches the common grounds, his eyes narrow at the scene. Every specter who followed Kiba sits still, guns lowered, and still in formation behind him. The various envoy troops lay scattered across the room, a few dented into a wall or column. In the middle, there stands Kiba. His left claw is seized around the captain's head, which he has lifted into the air above him. The captain's body is rather limp, but not dead as it hangs below Kiba's grip. Pride calls out to him in anger, only to have Kiba whip his head back and drop the captain suddenly.
I thought I told you I did not want you to kill anyone in my building.
Pride shouts at Kiba, reaching out as if to strangle him. Kiba's mask opens, pixelating itself back into the crevasses of his suit.
Oi, oi, no, you said no bloodshed.
Pride stops before him and clasps his hands closed, softly shaking it at Kiba's face before lowering it. A smug, shit-eating grin peeks across Kiba's face as he glances around the common grounds, admiring his handiwork.
I don't see any blood, Az.
He softly peers back at Pride, looking right into the furious fire he is holding back.
Besides a few broken bones, I didn't kill any of them either.
Kiba points down to the captain.
They believed they would take you by force, which we both know is folly, but
He glances towards the captain.
he was...
A plasma pistol raises to meet Kiba's gaze, aimed by the captain. Before another word can follow, smoke ignites from the barrel. Ionized gas skates across Kiba's face, taking his right cheek with it before hitting the roof. Upon instinct, one of Kiba's Spectre elites walks up to the captain and plants a barrel to his eye. The lone magnetic slug bears no mercy, impacting the floor instantaneously. The captain's fresh carcass rebounds, projecting itself away from the impact, painting the clean interior fabric with neon purple gore. Any semblance of the creature's figure is erased from reality. Kiba pauses, blinking with astonishment as he is plastered as well. He waves out his hand and begins berating the elite.
What the hell is the matter with you?
Only a short step away, the elite suffers a strike to his helmet. The elite glances towards Kiba, grasping the spot he just hit with surprise.
He shot you.
Kiba's comparatively large hand calmly wraps around the elite's helmet. With a quick twist, he refers the elite's eyes to his wound.
That was a simple plasma bolt, and not even a high grade.
The elite lets out a slight gasp as he watches the cheek-string tendrils of flesh across the gaping wound. The formerly exposed metallic jawline quickly hides behind fresh meat as it is surrounded once again.
You should know by now. That kind of damage is repairable.
Yes, but
He shakes the elite's head back and forth, as if trying to knock sense into him.
Do you have any idea what you just started? The envoy needed to return alive.
The trooper lets his weapon magnetize to his armor and grabs hold of Kiba's hand with his own, keeping his neck as straight as possible in fear it might break. Despite knowing his master would not kill him, there's still the possibility of accidents when wrath is involved. Pride lets out a drawn-out sigh, groaning near the end.
These idiots are yours, Kiba.
He looks at his companion.
I hope you fully understand what this will entail for Terra.
With a side glance, he peers back to Pride and drops his trooper.
Although at this point I suppose it was truly inevitable, yes?
A quick look around the room prompts his troopers to begin grabbing the rest of the envoy, readying them for relocation.
When he said you were to return to them, I suspected they planned to put you down and execute you.
Kiba folds his arm and sighs.
I'm sure they blame you for what we all had to do.
Pride lowers his eyes, lost in his own memories.
Well, they don't understand our reasoning. They believe we used our strength to conquer Earth. Yet why would we want to control that which we left?
His hands clench as he throws one out, slicing the air sideways.
A useless rock as it was, defiled and ruined. We learned where they could not, Kiba.
A sour, fang-bearing grin grows across Kiba's face. His eyes burn bright with unadulterated fury.
They believe themselves as gods. That is why they dread us. We shall prove to them how wrong they are.
Pride joins him with a vile smile of his own, shaking his head in amazement.
You follow that universal law strictly. I forget every time that you have no love for gods.
Kiba smirks with disappointment, his annoyed disposition growing.
Bah! And why would I? Look how our home turned out. Wasted intelligence.
Pride huffs, correcting his posture and mindset.
Regardless, we will be ready for their miserly desires. Our newest class is quite bright, I believe.
As Kiba wanders closer to Pride, he thinks for a moment before gesturing with his hand.
Might I ask for an extra day to train the kids? And what reason would you need them longer for?
Pride returns with an inquisitive expression. A quick nod from Kiba points to the envoy's direction.
Might need a crash course with energy manipulation thrown in.
Without hesitation, Pride shakes his head.
No. They need to understand Terra's history and upbringing if they are to ever grasp that knowledge. They just started.
He turns and faces away from Kiba.
Besides, you already have them for 5 days in a row. If you want to introduce them to its uses, then grab your men to help demonstrate. Ah, I'm sure I can think of a few examples.
Kiba deviously smiles, turning his gaze to a particular trooper.
Whatever it is you do, could you please not disturb my class for the rest of the day?
He looks back and huffs with a friendly smile.
I would like to get past the first genuine use of the Mark II armor before the day is over.
His smile morphs into a sarcastic grin.
It's not that long a story.
Kiba averts his eyes and scratches behind his ear.
Ish. The Mark II? Feels like that was forever ago.
Pride dismisses him with a wave of his hand.
Over 7,000 years. Kids figured it out.
Waving a hand of his own, Kiba groans.
Well, don't remind me too.
A calming, brief, and quiet pause ensues between them as they both warmly smile and nod to each other. Kiba faces back to his troops, and they both shortly resume their path. It does not take long for Kiba to continue berating his elite warriors, although his mind focuses on the future and what it may hold.
Well now, due to this incident, I have a new task for all of you.
His guards stand ready, the remaining envoys cuffed and secured in front of them.
Starting tomorrow, all 7 of you will be assisting me train the cubs.
A single finger raises and tags the prior offender standing in the middle.
Except for you, Colleen. You get to watch for the next 5 days.
The air grows thin as the entire party slowly turns their head to the middle. Their fury pierces Colleen's visor. He knows full well the disrespect placed upon him.
Also, don't bother wearing your AST. You won't need it.
His shoulders sink as dissatisfaction drips from his fellow troops and is aimed at him. Colleen's head drops, and he bleats out a depressing.
Yes, Master Raps.
Kiba clears his throat and garners their attention once more.
As for now, allow the rest of our guests to fulfill their desire to act as martyrs.
He rubs his chin with thought.
I don't care how. Out back behind the facility or something.
His eyes scan around the room and thoroughly inspect the filth spewing across the room.
Just clean up this damn mess now.
Every troop fully snaps back to attention and barks back.
Yes, Master Raps.
Pride himself, now somewhat calmer, stands and admires his handiwork with his classroom door. The students on the other side clearly see him staring at it but remain quiet and complacent. Their patience and devotion to their masters know no equal. Any bit of disrespect is met with ire by their brethren. He softly rubs his forehead and continues in, taking his place once again at the desk. With a soft wave of his hand, the students all sit. Not a sound is uttered. They know full well that it is not easy to trip Pride. Of course, this is the home he has built for his people. If it were hurt, not even a divine could save Terra's trespassers. While Kiba could be considered emotional, his unwavering power is what is concerning. Pride may be his equal, but not in terms of raw strength. It is not known, however, just exactly where both of them stand in the grand scale of the universe.
Unfortunately, I have a little bit less time today. However, we will finish this lesson up.
The children in the classroom slightly squirm and get comfortable, readying themselves with excitement.
Back when Terra first developed this technology and procedure, it wasn't quite perfected yet. Each part of my body was replaced within a couple months' time, and the only original part remaining was my brain.
A soft tap emanates from his finger to his skull.
Now, our bodies are created by Master Envy, just like our armor, perfected in every aspect and fully augmented by Terra's design. When it dies or is destroyed, we simply swap our brains to a fresh body.
Pride raises his arm, flexing his muscles.
I may have been the first, but there have been a few to fully use this operation. Obviously now it is much less painful and expertly done.
Pride stops for a moment, remembering the time that passed.
Before we could even establish the Spectic program as a force, we had to embark on an uncommon mission, at least at the time. However, it was a prime example of the capabilities for the Mach II. Now it was to be fully used by a true talent of Terra, a burning spectral lash laid forth. Terra's pride.